Hello physicists and welcome. In this session we'll be looking at the masses and spring simulation to look at restoring force. After you click on the link, it'll bring you to this screen. Go ahead and click on vectors. Click on vectors and it'll bring you to this screen. Hey, a couple of suggestions. First, go ahead on the right hand side, turn on the gravity and spring vectors. A couple other things we'll do. We'll drag the go and bring this ruler out here so we can measure distances, and we have a timer here. A couple of other features. Masses are here, so I can just grab one, I can place it on a spring, allow that to bounce up and down. If I want to change the rate, which I'd recommend, over in the lower right hand, I can put it on slow. Let me pull this one off, put a larger mass. Allow that to move up and down. When I'm timing the motion, time a cycle, I can move the ruler over just a little bit so we can see something else here. When I time, I'm running the timer in slow motion, the timer itself will count less quickly as well. So the time I measure on the timer is still accurate. Let's go ahead and pause all this. All right, I'll put this weight back here. Hey, so if I want to make the spring either stiffer or softer, I just slide it over here. So notice I move to the right. The coils of the spring get thicker. It's a stronger spring or a higher spring constant. As I move this to the left, we end up having a lighter spring or thinner coils there. And just for purposes, we'll call over here a spring constant of 1. All the way over here would be a spring constant of 10. All right, I can park it back here in the middle. All right, hey, a couple things just I want to note on here. I'm going to bring this to a spot, put this on here. There, okay. I have this paused right now. Is that right? No, I actually have it ready. You can see there's a little bit of motion. If I want to get it right to the middle, here, I'll park it right in the middle. All right, hey, let's take a look at the forces. I have gravity down and a spring force up. Right now you can see they're balanced. For some of your measurements, you'll look at it this way. Hey, then go ahead and click on net force, and it'll show you just the net force. As I move down, and notice there's a vector pointing up. As I move away from the equilibrium point, that vector gets larger. Try to let go of it. Notice what happens there. Take a look at that vector, notice which way it's pointing, and notice which way it is. Let's see, I'll put something in here. I'll put the mass equilibrium line in here. This may give you a pretty good hint on what exactly is happening. All right, as we get further away, notice what's happening to the magnitude. As we move away from the equilibrium point, I'll stop it back at the equilibrium point right there. Notice what happens to that vector. All right, those are pretty much the things you'll be looking at in this simulation. Park it back here. Hey, if I were to time this, I can bring it to some particular position, release it. I have time for a complete cycle, maybe all the way down, start, until all the way down. There, and I have the time for one complete cycle. I could go ahead and put in a different mass. Go ahead and time that as well. And if I want to change the spring constant, I can make it a thicker or a thinner spring. And go ahead and time it with these thicker or thinner springs. Make sure you reset it after each one. And I think that'll pretty much take care of the items you need for your lab, so good luck with this.